Thank you. Thank you all for coming. So I'm going to introduce our guest tonight, but and then we'll go a little bit through the presentation. And the idea is like to keep as much time for Q&A as possible. So you probably all know Christelle, who's our FSL teacher and as well as our continuing French teacher for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade at school. Heather, but you probably know because she's a parent in 5th grade, but she's here also as the president of the FBA. But we're going to introduce in a little bit with Beatrice, which is an alumni parent and who is the co-president of the FBA. And now, Heather, tell us a little bit more about what the FBA, because what we're here for is like to give you 4th and 5th grade parents a bit of options of what you can do after leaving FISW without totally leaving it, and that your children can have still a good level of French through the middle school grades, because this is where they don't have, even if they go in a public, a good bilingual or language education. And so how they can keep their level, still progress, and then enter high school and be able to pay to go through AP or other classes of that nature. So before, because we are polite guests, so we can have our guests start first, polite source, sorry. Heather and Beatrice gonna kind of like explain a little bit what the FBA is, because there's really two options for you. One in the evening, basically, and one in the morning.
Yeah, so thank you, Yvonne. So I serve in a volunteer capacity on the board with Beatrice and others for the French Bilingual Association. And this is middle school curriculum, 6th to 8th grade in Bellevue. Now let's see if I can advance. Oh, hey, look at that. Okay. So the FBA was started actually in 2002 by FISW parents who, when their kids graduated, they what do we do? How do we keep French going after 5th grade? So they formed this 501c3 nonprofit. It's all volunteer, primarily parents, and actually, interestingly, right now on the board, we're all FISW alumni parents, and only one still has a child in the FBA program. That's how much I would say the FISW parent community has believed in this, is that even if our kids aren't in the program anymore, we're all still helping to run it. And we partner with the Bellevue School District to host the program at Tillicum Middle School. So, the goal, of course, is to continue that native level French language curriculum in middle school. We keep it accessible. It's not a lottery program, and we keep the tuition as low as possible. Tuition covers purely teachers and books. And as Yvonne mentioned, our program, as well as at FISW, the kids, they graduate in 8th grade. They take a test at the end of 8th grade called the STAMP test, which gives them the seal of biliteracy and lets them go in and do AP French immediately in 9th grade in high school. The other important reason, I should just say, for this program, and even for the FISW program, is that our kids, they graduate FISW and they're too advanced to take French in the public school system in middle school. Middle schools don't offer anything, like it's only French 1 and 2, I think. I don't think they even offer French 3, and it's beginner French. And so our kids can't do that, but they still want to have a language, and you're required on top of it. You're required in the Bellevue School District and probably others to have a language. So this is a way for them to be able to continue that. So hosted at Tillicum Middle School. Tillicum is now also an open school, so you can live in Bellevue and not be in the Tillicum area and you can apply to still go to Tillicum. And now it's even open for out of district. That enrollment period did end January something, but for next year, for the fourth graders, you can still apply to get in if you want to go to the school in general. The classes, we hold them every morning, 5 days a week. They last for about 50 minutes, and we follow the school district calendar. So if there's no school or there's a snow day or something, there's no FBA in the morning. The little challenge, hiccup, wonderful opportunity is that this is held during zero period. So it's before school starts. The reason we see it as an opportunity is because then it's a really great program for kids who have other after school activities and things that would prevent them from doing an after school program. And so that's why we are really complementary to the FISW option. And so this zero period at Tillicum is an early start school. So regular school starts at 7:45. So zero period, the kids get there for 6:40 in the morning, and the class ends at 7:35 when the bell rings for the kids to come in for their first period. It does allow for kids who are not at Tillicum, you could still come take the French class and then go to your home school, wherever that is. If you're at a different private school, we've had that before. Kids from international, kids who go to a private school, Overlake, things like that, they come to Tillicum to do this class and then leave if you're not a Tillicum student. The classes are very small, and we often they're a split class depending on the number of kids. So this year we have a 6-7, and then actually also a 7-8, because the program, we have a lot of kids that participate in the program who are from French families or French backgrounds, but did not go to a French school. So the FISW kids come in, they're strong in written and reading, right, Christelle? Usually,
tout à fait.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the kids from the French families, their language is very strong. So they're great to help with the oral part in class, but their written isn't as strong. And so we've done some bridging to really open the program, because those kids of French families, the public school French program is also too advanced. They're too advanced for that. But they actually aren't quite usually at the written level of our FISW graduates. And then I'm not going to tell you, Christelle is going to talk about the curriculum, because Christelle is one of our teachers, and as well as Sylvie, who's the FISW second grade teacher, I believe, is our other FBA teacher. So the way our registration works is, you let us know if you're interested. We have a registration form that in the spring or in the next month or so I'll send out, which is really just to help us garner interest. And then once we know the interest, we are able to set the tuition. And then the contract isn't until the summer. Our tuition, this year is $3,800. And we typically do that in 2 payments, or we can have some payment plans. But as I said, it's purely for the teachers and the books that the kids receive. So that's it. Myself, Heather, and then Beatrice is here. Her daughter Elena graduated from FISW
2020.
2020. That's right. She was a 2020 class. So and my older two, so Helena went through FBA, and then my older 2 kids went through FBA, and then now Natalie will be will be an FBA next year at Tillicum. So that's it from me. From us.
Thank you, Heather. And we can take questions, if there's question now. Otherwise, we can go through and keep questions to the end. You also are welcome to jump in a chat as well. So that was one of the options for continuing your French, the morning one. So 4 hours and 10 minutes per week. Another option that FISW offers is the 5 hour per week after school options. So with 2 weekdays and 1 weekend. And when I say one weekend, it's a Saturday morning, either 8 to 10 or 10 to 12. The weekdays are usually 4 to 5:30 twice. So, for example, this year, the sixth graders are Monday and Wednesday, and the 7 and 8 are Tuesday and Thursday from 4:30 to 5, from 4 to 5:30, sorry. I let Crystal go into details on the presentation itself, the curriculum, knowing that it is not a back to school night. It's really like an overview of the kind of project that they're gonna have. But this option allows us to do also the same way that was described by Heather, some history and geography, so social studies, and a lot of language art. So it's a great opportunity. Same thing Heather mentioned that the students in 8th grade go through the STAMPS program, which validates a little bit their acquisition. Crystal and I have talked also like to see if there's other validation through DELF or that we can go through, but it's and you'll see with the book that she presents, but we follow the curriculum as much as we can do in 5 hours, right? But we kind of like follow what the curriculum is. So the kind of books that we have to read, or it's really matching the program in France. So 2 times during the week, 1 time during the weekend is a commitment. We basically are the same schedule as the school, so it's pretty similar, and yeah, close to the school district of Bellevue, with a caveat this year on around the spring break, but 2 different options in terms of timing and organization for you, but nonetheless 2 options like that allow you, depending on your family situation, where you go to school, where you live, to find a solution and a position that is affordable, but that also allows you and your children to continue the level of French that they have at FISW. And so, Crystal, if you want to kind of like drive us through a little bit, like some of the projects, some of the books you use, and that people have an idea?
Yes, I will share my screen so I can go over what we do in 6th grade. So at FISW, the class is organized around those 5 units: les contes, les pierres de sarcophage, les fables, l'Odyssée. Also, that's the objective. So I'm not gonna go into the detail of it, but of course we have they practice grammar and verb tense and all the language skills that are required in 6th grade in the French curriculum program.
And that's the thing that we are most excited about, doing more conjugation.
Yes, exactly, more conjugation. So those are the unit that we go through during the year. There are some play at basically the end of the year. So homework, usually I give them homework on Wednesday for the next Wednesday. And so they have to read 2 pages basically per week. And so of course, grammar, vocabulary, and we have projects. Right now they're working on a lab book project, which they will create a display to show what they have learned about. They have learned about in geography about Egypt. So it takes them usually 6 weeks. And so that this is the project that they are working on currently. Evaluation, it's in-class exercise, speaking and writing. After each unit, we have 5 units, so after each unit they have evaluation and of course participation. these are the books that we use in 6th grade. I have some here. I don't know if you can see them, but they're here. And the textbooks, same, we use it at FBA, so Colibri. It's really the main textbook that we use. And of course, we have some history and geography. So those are the objectives. Right here. An assessment in history and geography. It's a project, group project, individual project, oral presentation, and class participation. That's about it. That's about what we are doing in 6th grade.
And so that's also a way for them to be still involved in the life of the school. Last year, they did a project for the gala. They also did a project for the spectacle. So
Yes.
there's this continuity also in terms of like still being involved at the school. They can always volunteer for the gala or things like this. So there's opportunity for them too. This is why we call it continuing French education, like really having our alumni in the continuity of it. So program relatively similar, two different timing and different locations. So that's kind of like the essence of it, but we want to keep it as open as possible to your questions. And so it's always the first one that is the hardest, but you can go. I don't think there's anything in the chat. I checked. Yeah.
No questions.
I can't believe that we are that clear. It's just not
No
possible.
question.
No possible.
I have a question.
Yes.
Can you please remind me the schedule for the 6th graders for the after school program at FISW?
Right now it's Monday, Wednesday, 4 to 5:30, and Saturday either 8 to 10 or 10 to 12, depending on how we manage next year, because the other group, the 7th graders, 8th graders are on the other side. So I cannot guarantee you what it's going to be on Saturdays next year, sorry, but I can, but that's what it is this year. This year they are the 7th and 8th graders are 8 to 10.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Richelle.
Yes, I think I saw the 24-25 tuition, Heather, when you were speaking. Is that the same for FISW's tuition, or is there? Can you share details of what tuition was for this current year for FISW?
I certainly can if my document didn't close on me right now, but I will. I will do that. It's a little bit more expensive at FISW, but we have a little bit more hours.
Okay.
So it's like pro rating, it's not that far off, but and I'm sorry I don't have this number in front of me, but I'm reopening my document. Give me 1 second, I'll come back to you. Do you have another question, Richelle, right? What I'm looking for?
No.
No, okay. So
Okay.
if someone has another question, please do so while I'm finding this information.
Yvonne, this is
I have
Pete.
I can wait. I can go next.
Yeah, so my question was, you said Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, and then there's another morning option. Is that correct? I'm driving, so I may have missed it.
Yeah. So the morning option is with the FBA program at Tillicum. So the morning option is every day The kids arrive at 6:40 in the morning and they're done at 7:35. Correct, Christelle?
Yeah, 7:38. 38. Same.
7:38. Okay, when the bell
So
rings.
they wait, yeah, exactly when the bell rings. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So there's no like mixing of options. It's one or the other, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Basically, it's
Currently.
a morning option and an afternoon option.
I mean, and ultimately, we want to offer the most flexible offer possible. But as of now, this is how it's drawing. And Richelle, I found your information is 4,900 this year.
For 5
Thank
hours
you.
per week, right?
Yeah, for 5 hours.
I have a very quick question. Is it an
Mhm.
in-person program or is it remote?
It
Which,
is. It's in person.
Yeah,
And
both
it's
of them
at
are.
FISW?
There's no remote option for FISW at all.
No, but it is taking place at FISW. Same school, right? Same location?
Yep, same location. It's FISW from 4 to 5:30. So I have to say that during the week we have that online option that is available. Not available on Saturday though. On Saturday it's in person. But during the week, if they cannot make it in person, we have they can follow the class online. So I usually
Perfect.
have both, like student in person and student online. That is during the week only.
And
Thank
the morning
Mhm.
class is only in person.
Exactly. Morning class is in person. Yeah.
Does Jennifer, you had a question?
Yes. So I think you've mentioned in past that you had some flexibility in terms of like, or I could be mistaken, but in terms of being able to attend 2 classes a week instead of all 3 or something like that. Is that true or am I confused?
So this is what we have done this year for 6th graders, only for 6th graders. We have given an extra option of flexibility. It just removed 2 hours from the equation, which is significant. But if we have enough takers, that could be a possibility. Like Christelle has been great at changing a little bit the way she was presenting our program, and then we can focus the weekend on something else. It is a possibility. It depends on demand and possibility for us to do it, but that's what we have done this year. Yes.
And if those 2 hours are those like the Saturday 2 hours or any 2
Correct.
hours?
Correct.
Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one more question. So I think you said you start at 4 p.m. on the weekdays.
Mhm.
So if I'm coming to pick up my other daughter at like 3:15, can I leave Bryony there at 3:15?
Of course. Yeah, you can leave. Because we have students that get here at 3:30 and they read a book and they stay there with me. So yeah, you can definitely leave.
We use them to do homework for the 2nd graders. So.
Okay, so we wouldn't need to pay for garderie if we drop them off. Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
I mean, with a caveat, right? Like if suddenly we have 20 people signing up for the program and all 20 drop them off, I might have a different issue, but no, right now it's not an issue at all. Richelle, you had a question.
Oh, I don't know if Julia was in front of me. Go ahead, Julia.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Julia.
I already asked my question. It was about remote
Okay,
options.
okay.
So I'm all good.
And then
Okay.
that's perfect then, because I was circling back to just for some further clarification. So when we reference that virtual comment, is that only utilized if there's a special circumstance, like the child is under the weather and can't make it in for the
Yep.
day, or is that or is there an option where in a circumstance where a parent cannot transport them on a particular weekday, but maybe the Wednesday is not available, but the Monday is available in person? Is that the type of flexibility we're talking about, or how does that work?
Actually, I have students who, because they can not be dropped off, so they like every Monday they're online and on Wednesday they're in person.
Perfect. Okay, that's what I
So there
thought.
is,
Okay.
But
I mean,
with FBA, it's in person only.
Okay. Yes.
and
In the
it's
morning.
obviously we try to emphasize that it's just better if you're in
First,
person because of
Right.
all the work they can do together. But we also understand that 4 p.m. is not necessarily a convenient hour for every parent, and we try to make it work for everyone.
Okay.
Is there one question? 4 p.m. Is that set in stone, or is there reason why is it based upon your availability, Christelle, or is there?
It has always been like that for 5:30 because we close at 5:30.
Yeah.
So and
I
it's
see.
1 hour and a half, so it has to start at 4.
Yeah.
So,
It could
because
start
the
earlier,
school-
but not later.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it.
If any questions
In
come,
More question.
I was just gonna say in the Issaquah School District on Wednesday, they finish late. They finish, I think, at 4 or 3:30. I don't remember. So, don't you have problems on Wednesday for people in the Issaquah Public School District? They start at Wednesday.
No, usually, even if they finish at 3:30, I mean, they're here at 4, but sometimes they're late for 10, or but because of any reason, but it's totally fine, they
Okay.
they catch up, so totally fine. They can, usually I ask them, usually parents send me a text or email that they will be late, but yeah.
Oh yeah, we don't do tardies at the middle school program, but
Good to know.
But yeah, no, that's a good point because not long ago, Issaquah was doing a late dismissal on Wednesday, an early dismissal on Wednesday, and now it's the opposite. They do a late start on Wednesday, so it's very, very different. But so this is why we historically we never had this issue, right? But these past few years they have changed their way. So yeah, so we're aware of that, and depending on where they're going, we also are trying to be flexible when they arrive.
And when is the deadline to register?
We haven't set the deadline yet. We wanted to have this meeting first, but we will send you information. We have some flexibility. We want to give you the information as early as possible because that might affect some activities or things like this. So we're also aware of that. But last year, I believe, I can't remember. I believe it was April or end of March. I'll double check that, but we will, follow up this meeting. We will send you information and let you know at that time.
Okay, thank you.
Richelle?
Are you required to commit to the date of the schedule that you plan to take at the time of registration? Or does that come after?
No.
Okay.
No. And I'm going to explain one of the reasons why, and the same thing at the FBA, even FDAB, it's fixed, right? Like they have their period 0 and they have to follow that. But the way we do the classes, for example, this year there's a 6th grade class and a 7th, 8th mixed, but last year was the opposite for us. And at the FBA, we have 2 mixed classes. So it's depending on how we have to do the classes, then it might affect the schedule. But as of now, it has been pretty consistent that 6th grade and or 7th grade, if we have a split class, would be on the Monday, Wednesday part, and the other one would be on a Tuesday, Thursday.
And I would just say to the split, so FBA's been the same in the sense of there's been years where there's three, like actually three separate classes, but then depending on the sizes, sometimes it's a 6-7 split, sometimes it's a 7-8, sometimes it's 8 on its own. But again, it depends on how many kids there are.
This year we have at FBA it's 6 and 7, and then 7 and 8. So
yeah,
they really depend on the year.
Yeah, I think that you understand that our key word is flexibility.
Yeah.
But, I don't know if it's Nick or Julian, but one of Violet's parents.
Yes, it's not Violet. This is for Heather. Was I understanding correctly that we don't have to be in the Bellevue School District boundaries in order to do this? Okay.
Correct. No, you just have to be a willing parent to drive your child in between the two. But that actually has happened quite often. One of our former FISW parents, he was a runner, and so he would bring his daughter. She'd do her class, he'd go for his run, and then he'd drive her to the Overlake School in Redmond. So, I think it's dependent in that way.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Pierre?
Yes, it's actually Amy.
Oh, Amy.
Yes. So I have a question about the curriculum. So between the two, are we following the same curriculum? Does it matter if we for which one we decide? Because it seems like it's both. Estelle is teaching on both sides.
It's basically the same curriculum. It is the same curriculum. Yes.
So when you are,
so we follow the French, the French curriculum.
Right. So when you're mixing classes, like let's say because there's not enough students, is there still the 6th grader will follow 6th grade curriculum, even though they'll be mixed with 7th graders?
Yes, and actually, for grammar, conjugation, vocabulary, and everything, it's basically 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade. It's the same, same. The same. We have the same language skill, but it's just getting more difficult from 6th grade to 7 and 7 to 8. So it's possible to just do the same lesson and give them different exercise. That's what usually we do. Same lesson because it's the same, for 3 years. It's just getting more challenging by year. So the exercise that they will work on are different, but the lesson is basically the same. So it's very possible to just when usually what I do is we have that mini lesson, I call that, and then I separate the group, 6th grade and 7th grade are separate, and they do different exercise.
Okay. So you basically we're focusing on grammar, and so do you are they and then oral? Do they like expose oral and they do that all that? Okay.
They
so
do, yeah. Oral is very important for me. Yeah.
Okay.
So they have they have to they're graded on that, and it's not allowed to speak English in the class.
Okay.
They will have to speak French anyway. So and they do present. They do.
And then do you also so grammar basically written like how to say compose it, like basically to compose like because they don't do it right now, but they just gradually like basically writing they do their
so reading, writing, conjugation, all the grammar rules.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Sounds good. Thank you.
just like in 6th grade, it's just continuing.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. And a little bit of geography and history at FISW.
Is it geography from France and history from France?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Same, it's basically the same books that they use in France. sixth grade that I use here.
Okay. And are we, do they get like are we expected to buy those books, or is it come with a package with a tuition like right now?
It does come with the tuition.
Okay.
At FBA as well, in both programs, the
Yeah,
books are provided.
both programs. Yeah, we provide the books.
Okay, thank you.
That's good questions. Thank you. If something comes to mind later, don't hesitate to reach out, of course. We'll send to everyone in fourth and fifth the recording and some more information. We also have the opportunity, if you want, or maybe you know some of the alumni who are in this program, and I will invite you to talk to them or their parents. It's a good way to figure out how they are doing in this program. We also have like parents at school with alumni right now in our FISW program. So you feel free also to reach out to these people on top of us, and don't hesitate if you have other questions. It's a great program. It really helps them. They usually do pretty well at the stamps at the end, and a lot of them are able to take AP French as a breeze in 9th grade, so which is great for them. It's both great and it's both a blessing and a curse, because after that, what they tell me is that they don't need French anymore, so they don't follow French in 10th and 11th grade, which breaks my heart each time. Okay, thank you very much for coming. Don't hesitate to reach out, and have a great evening.
Au revoir.
I'm so sorry.
Ah.
I have another question about Saturday. So there is no way we could skip some Saturdays because
I mean, that can happen, like depending on, like it can happen, but you have, over commitment or things like this. It's just depending on what they're doing, she might be a little bit late on a schedule or on a project, sorry, I think so that can happen, but you cannot make it, right?
But is there something special about Saturdays? Like, is it
So I can show you, I can share something. So for Saturday, usually what we do at FISW, it's all here. So when they miss the class, which it happened, they miss a Saturday, they just go, it's here on, so let's say December, they can find what we have done on that Saturday, and they're expected to do it for the, so that they usually, it's really, when they miss it, they can just find, on the OneNote what we have done and work on it. It's on everything we do, it's on here. So for French is here with the like that's 4e, 6e. So they just, for the 6e, when they miss, they just have to find what we worked on and do it. So same, because parents usually ask me, so everything is on OneNote, everything we have done. So like, it's on OneNote. They can find everything, and the devoir, it's on OneNote too, if you want to follow. Like for today, I had the 6th grade, and this is what they are supposed to do for 26 February, because next week is winter break. So for parents, if you want to know, you just want to go here and you find it.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. And same for FBA, by the way. We have, so I don't have OneNote, but usually they have homework. They can, they have them, that's same thing. They do same thing. I just don't use OneNote, but they It's good. It's the same way. They have homework.
Well, thanks everybody, and you know how to reach me. And then Yvonne will send out contact information also. We want to keep French for our kids. It's the goal.
Yeah.
However we can do it.
Yeah. Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Au revoir. Bonsoir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.